We are back here on Bills by the Numbers, where we let the stats tell you where the Bills are at. We're presented by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Coming your way, it was only one game, but what did Week 1 tell us about the Bills? We'll examine the pluses and minuses from the opener against the Ravens and determine whether we can be excited or concerned about certain areas of the team. Steve is quizzed on division openers, and we'll have our one burning question. Hey, does anybody have a hose to use on Fireman Ed? Glad you can make it. Welcome to Bills by the Numbers. He is Bills Wall of Famer Steve Tasker. I'm Bills play-by-play broadcaster Chris Brown. And on the heels of an unimaginable home opener, the Bills gave us a taste of what to expect this season from their offensive and defensive units. So in these three things, thing number one, Steve, what did Buffalo's Week 1 performance against the Ravens tell us?
First of all, think about if, say, Matt Prater comes in off a red eye, brand new guy, and he misses the kick, and you lose this game.
Yeah.
You're still thinking your offense is good enough to hang in there. And you're worried about your defense because now your offense really isn't good enough to overcome this defense. But the kick goes through, and now you think, okay, plus it helps you sit back and say, there's not very many offenses in the NFL as good as the Ravens. Maybe the Bills is as good, right? On Sunday, yes. It was exactly the same, right? They scored. So you're thinking, we're a tough team to beat. We do need some help defensively. They've got to play a little stiffer on that side of the ball. But this offense continues to click. And the only thing that really worries you about that side of the ball on the offense, that is, what took them so long? Was there was a lull in that in late in the first half. They got that right before halftime. They came out and got the field goal. That was great.
Yeah, but in between the first drive and the last drive and a half, it was a little touch and go.
Yeah, they had a couple of 3-and-outs. They got some penalties on the offensive line, holdings and some false starts. A little sloppy. So there's everything to clean up there on both sides of the ball, but the truth is still in there. When this engine revs, ain't nobody staying with it.
Yeah, I'm going to kind of go in a different direction with this. I think what it told us is the team's resilience is alive and well, and the ability to summon up game-altering plays when they need them most is there. They probably won't happen every week, but this team under McDermott, more often than not, finds a way, and that was just proven again in Week 1. And it wasn't all offense. When the defense had to get stops, they got stops.
Yep.
When they had to get a takeaway, they got a takeaway. So I don't think it's all bad on the defensive side of the ball, but we'll dive into that a little bit more.
I think that's true. This defense under McDermott has always been kind of a bend, don't break, but it's been a playmaking defense, like a timely defense. And that's why it's kind of hard. It's excruciating to watch because they don't do it until you got to have it. And all of us are clutching our pearls like, and finally they do. More often than not, they absolutely come through. But, man, that's.
Yeah. We'll get into that more in just a second. Thing number 2, what element of Buffalo's performance against the Ravens gives you confidence that it can be depended upon no matter what the time or score of the game might be?
Well, their offensive production is right there again. 40 points. I mean, come on.
It's a machine. Yeah.
It's a machine. And they ran the ball pretty effectively when they wanted to. I think James Cooks, he showed on the short catch and run. He's dynamite in the open field once again. He's a real weapon. Joshua Palmer was excellent in this game. Keon Coleman. I mean, we're going to start talking about him, I'm pretty sure, when he.
Well, we were talking about him from what we saw in training camp and the joint practice with the Bears.
He's going to be the center of conversation for a minute here, at least, and if he keeps going the way he's going. And not for nothing, the 3 tight ends showed up. All of them combined were good. So
7 for 97 and a touchdown, all 3 of them together.
The offense seems to be there. I'd like to get a better handle on the offense. The offensive line was a little sloppy. They had a lot of penalties, really, basic is what I'm saying. And they had a hard time clearing it out for the run game as much as we've seen them in the past. But once again,
they're playing the number 1 run defense in football from last year.
They're playing a crew on the Baltimore Ravens side. Those guys are good in every facet of the game. except what? Closing it out. That's the only thing they stink at. Everything else, they click. So it was a big test for this team, and they summoned enough to beat them by 1.
I would say what I feel can be depended upon is the passing game looks as though it can be reliable for this offense. Josh Allen appears to be an even better pre-snap diagnoser this season, who can adjust on the fly to what he believes is coming at him. It was an area that we know he wanted to improve this offseason. Check the box after what we saw from him in week 1, because we're already seeing evidence of it. And look, he's not going to be perfect, but we've seen him as a decision maker in pressure situations, and he has been downright dynamic. So I think you can count on him to execute the passing game to almost flawless perfection. There might be a defensive coordinator that gets him on a given play or a money down here or there, but I think 90% of the time that dude's going to win, just because of all the effort and energy he has put into being a pre-snap diagnoser. Because I believe after losing another close game to Patrick Mahomes again, who I would argue is one of the best game manager quarterbacks in terms of managing the situation and getting his team through it, even sometimes with limited resources.
That's right.
He is good at making more out of less.
Yes.
And I think Josh wanted to incorporate that into his own arsenal, and I think over the course of this offseason, he has checked that box.
Yeah, that's Mahomes' gift. He is never dead. And when it looks the perfect defense, he finds a way to get out. And then Josh does this to a certain extent. Both these guys are clutch players athletically.
Yeah.
Mahomes and Josh. But you're right. That's Mahomes' situational awareness is second to none. That's his superpower. He knows where his opportunities are all the time and has no problem behind the back, sideways,
he's
or
kinda,
making a laser throw down the field. He's amazing.
He's like an FBI agent that knows all the exits as soon as he gets into the room.
That's
You know what I
right.
mean?
Yeah,
That's kind of how I think
right.
of him.
He's an amazing player, and Josh is right there with him. And because of the bounce of the ball and because of the way the clock ends of the game, and maybe that's time management in large measure, but there's no question Josh has gotten the short end of it in some pretty quirky circumstances going against Kansas City.
Thing number 3, what part of Buffalo's play on Sunday night was of greatest concern, and how quickly do you feel it can be remedied?
Well, I mean, you watch that game and the run defense jumps out at you. I think it can be remedied fairly quickly. I still don't know. I don't know if we know how good our defensive line can be, because I think they struggled to be in the right gaps. I think there was some real mental confusion and communication issues up front. Certainly, we've got a bunch of young guys on the D-line, and we knew there was going to be some growing pains. We were hoping they would come along fast. They got some work to do. Now, this was an A++ running team, no question about it. So they got thrown in the deep end right away. But they got exposed, and maybe they got away with one here, and they can get it better. They can get it better very quickly, because certainly they're going to see some of the same concepts, because nobody's going to come play the Bills and not try exactly what the Baltimore Ravens just did to them. So they're going to get a chance to get some reps at it in game, and we'll see if they get better at it. But the mental stuff can certainly be fixed very quickly.
Yeah, it's on the defensive side of the ball where the concerns lie. I don't think there's any question about that, especially when you give up 40 even to a juggernaut offense like the Ravens. For me, though, I didn't think the D-line was awful. I had an issue at the second level of the defense. I was really surprised to see a down day at the linebacker position, and then it fell upon the safeties to make more plays than they should be asked to make, particularly in defending the run. And they were put in some uncompromising positions because the linebackers could not get off blocks to make plays, and it was left to the safeties. I believe it will look better going forward. Better preparation was needed in the eyes of Coach McDermott. He said he needs an elite level of preparation in advance of the Jets game coming up in week 2. And knowing Terrell Bernard and Matt Milano's approach to the game, I would expect it to be markedly better as soon as this weekend. And finally, Steve, is there any one player new to the roster who showed you more than you anticipated going into the season opener? New to the roster.
Jackson Hawes.
Okay.
He was, I don't know, he got like a handful of snaps. And his first catch is in a gotta-have-it moment down the seam with two guys bearing down on him, and Josh puts it on him right down the hash marks, right down to the goal line. It's pretty impressive, and that's not what we thought he was going to be good at.
Yeah.
So I thought that play, being ready in that moment, on that time, was absolutely vital in that win. Certainly there are other guys, too. Joshua Palmer's another candidate for this. I mean, we knew he was. They plugged him in, and he's a pro, and he played exactly like we thought he would play. He came through. But I think the guy that surprised me most was the way Hawes splashed onto the field with just one play. He had one chance in the entire game. And he might have been a handful of snaps, but one play, one target, and he came through big.
Yeah, the two guys I have are on the defensive side of the ball. I think we really didn't. We know what the pedigree is, but we really didn't know what to expect from Joey Bosa. And I think that he is every bit the player that Brandon Beane hoped he was adding to this roster. It didn't reveal itself in the form of sacks and quarterback takedowns, but you noticed him. He was a factor. He was excellent in setting the edge in the run game. They often ran away from his side. That's not by accident. And the other guy is Dorian Strong. I think we still need to see more. I think it's hard to really put an accurate evaluation on him, primarily because Lamar Jackson only threw 20 passes in the whole game. 19 pass attempts in the whole game. So I don't know if we got an accurate read on him, but I will say he did not look like a deer in the headlights out there. And that was encouraging going forward, which is why I'm very curious to see where his playing time goes from here, especially when Tre'Davious White is healthy enough to play.
Dorian Strong played 100% of the defensive snaps. 100%.
Which you're putting an awful – we say it all the time, Steve. The number one thing coaches want from a player is to know they can trust them, and to put a rookie sixth-round pick out there in week one and play him the length of the game, I think says an awful lot about
think about
Dorian
this.
Strong.
The Bills' defense gave up 40, but so did the Baltimore defense. The Baltimore defense has 4 number ones in the back end. Buffalo's got 2
5 if you count their nickel corner.
Buffalo's got 2 sixth-rounders playing corner.
Yeah. And a fourth-rounder playing nickel.
It's pretty good player development.
Yeah. We move ahead now to the numbers game, where Steve will be quizzed on division openers, with the Bills taking on the Jets in their first division matchup of the season.
It's the Jets, Patriots, and Dolphins. Okay, go.
Yeah, no more goals. Question number 1. In the Sean McDermott era, Steve, what is the latest in the season that the Bills have played their first division game?
I will say week 3.
It is later than that.
Oh, is it? Week 4.
Still later.
No. Week 6.
Nope.
Week 5.
No again.
No way.
It's week 8.
What year was that?
That was in 2018. There was a scheduling, I don't know what you want to call it,
Seriously?
anomaly. And they played New England in week 8 of 2018. That was their first division game of the season. So kind of a, what do we call that? An anomaly that, made it hard to guess that one correctly.
That's, come on, man. Seriously.
Well, these aren't supposed to be layups. They can't all be layups. Question number 2.
Wow.
Since 2017, Steve, what is the greatest number of division games slated in the first month of the season? So just here in the McDermott era, give me the number, the highest number of division games you think the Bills have had in the first 4 weeks of the season.
2.
And you would be correct. 2 is the highest number.
Yeah.
2019, 2020, and this season
are
the years in which they will play 2 division games in the first month of the season. They got Jets in week 2, Dolphins in week 3.
Yeah.
On a short week, by the way. Question number 3. What is the most lopsided win for the Bills in a division opener in the McDermott era? first division game of the season, and they win going away. What is the most lopsided win in your estimation? You can give me a point differential, whatever you want.
Let me see. I would say I'd say the Dolphins. Got to be a Dolphins game.
It is the Dolphins.
Because
you're on the right track.
Josh owns them. And I would say it would be a 15-point win.
It's significantly more than that,
Really?
Steve.
All right, so it's like 31-3 or something, 28 points.
Yeah, it's actually 35 points. So in
Really?
2021, week 2, they shut out the Dolphins.
Really?
35 zippo. Who's your daddy? You don't even mind that you got that one wrong.
Let's go. Okay.
I can't even keep a straight face. Question number 4. Against which division opponent in the Sean McDermott era do the Bills have the greatest point differential?
Does this include playoffs and all that?
No, we're talking
Okay.
regular season only.
Miami.
Yes, it is Miami. Care to guess the number?
Point differential
Plus-
total? How many games is that?
Well, let's see. It's since 2017. That's 2 a year, so that's 8 years.
16 games.
Yeah.
Well, not
What-
this year.
Well, not this year, right.
All right, so it's 14 games.
What is the
Point differential. No. I'd say plus 158.
It's plus 205.
Let's go!
Isn't it fun bagging on the Dolphins?
Oh, my
it's
gosh.
so delicious.
It is. It's been so long. So nice. Yeah.
That is the
That is
numbers game.
awesome.
See, wasn't that fun? That was a lot of fun. I enjoyed that thoroughly.
And I'll say this, too. That game, I went back. I texted you last night. I was watching the Dolphins.
Oh, their opener against
Dolphins
the
Colts game.
Ugh.
It was a bad outing.
Yeah.
It was bad.
Mike McDaniel might not make it to Halloween.
He may not make it to Thursday night.
Well, yeah, we'll see.
It was rough. This week. They play the Patriots. If that Patriots team goes down there and lumps them up,
Yeah, it could be bad.
they won't make the change on a short week.
Probably not. Probably not.
Probably not.
But the Dolphins don't always do things conventionally, as
That is
we know.
correct. That is correct.
Bills fans, get in on the action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Just download the app today to play any way you want. Plus, with live betting, you'll get updated odds on games that have already started. Best of all, you get paid your winnings fast. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the Buffalo Bills. Time now for our one burning question. We only saw it for 3 plays in the season opener, Steve, but we got a small taste of Buffalo's 3 tight end set with Dawson Knox, Dalton Kincaid, and rookie Jackson Hawes all on the field together. As good a job as they did blocking, they also contributed 7 catches for 97 yards and a touchdown collectively. How likely is it that we see more frequent use of 13 personnel by the Bills going forward this season?
Well, you say 3 snaps of
Yeah.
13 personnel in this last game. They were productive in it, if I'm not mistaken. You'll see more of it because of that. They might jump to 5 or 7 snaps in a game like this, depending on the matchup. Then it'll grow from, if they keep being productive, it'll grow to I think the maximum would be like 10 to 15 snaps a game.
Yeah.
You're not going to get more than that,
Right.
no matter how productive it is.
Unless, let me give you a scenario. You tell me if you subscribe to it. You want to play bully ball against an opponent that you just think you're flat out tougher and bigger and stronger against, like the Dolphins.
The Dolphins on Thursday night. You
Yeah.
could see
Right?
15 or 20 snaps.
Right?
Here's the thing.
Remember that Monday
Yes.
night game against the Cowboys a couple of years ago here where they just went bully ball on them, 40 carries for James Cook.
Right. Teddy Marchibroda, who was, in my opinion, a Hall of Fame coach in the NFL. He's got the Colts to the AFC Championship game, was the offensive coordinator for the K-Gun in the first couple of years of their Super Bowl runs.
Right.
He went, and then he left here and went to be the head
coach of
coach.
the Colts.
He got hired away. A phenomenal coach and really smart guy, and he was beloved by us. So Teddy had this saying. He said, listen, and we would start talking about what we were going to see in a defense. And it's the same thing offensively. He goes, they only had this. He's talking about a team like the Bills. They had 50 snaps in the first 8 games of the year of 13 personnel, right? But 35 of them were in 2 games, right? That's the kind of spread you're looking at. So the Bills will run a 13 personnel. They'll have 3 plays this last week against Baltimore. They'll have 3 plays this week against the Jet. They'll have 15 plays against the Dolphins, and then they'll go back to have 3 plays against the Saints, right? That kind of thing is going to happen. That's what I think will happen with 13 personnel. And if they go in there in a game like this first game against the Baltimore Ravens and then this game coming up against the Jets, and they're good, and they start to make some hay with it, and they sprinkle in a couple extra that they didn't really plan on doing, then the package becomes something that they can do against more defensive looks. And then they'll start to trust it more, and they'll say, well, wait a minute, this team's going to struggle with this. Let's put it in more. That's what you're looking at. But then you start becoming, a different team offensively. And you have to, when you put Kincaid, Knox, and Jackson Hawes on the field, a couple of guys got to sit down. Right. Somebody's got to sit down. You can't have 14 guys on the field, so somebody has to sit down. And that may be where you get into the crux where it's like, okay, well, we don't want to take Keon off the field or Joshua Palmer. Now we're stuck. So that's the problem you have.
But if you have a team, let's just say you're playing against a team that has 4 really good corners.
Yeah.
Put 13 personnel on the field
That's
and
right.
say, oh, you want to keep your corners out here? We're just going to bully ball you in the passing game because these guys are a foot taller than all your little corners running around.
That's right.
Okay, now you're going to put a linebacker on the field. Now we're going to run Kincaid out.
Or, for instance, you got a team like the Jets here, and they've got a couple of corners, and like Sauce Gardner's out there who weighs about as much as my coffee cup sitting here.
He is 6'3", though, yeah.
But he's a wispy.
Yes, he's
dude.
wispy.
Jackson Hawes comes out and grabs him by the breastplate and,
takes him on a ride.
And sticks him head first into the bench.
Yeah.
They've got a problem then.
Mm-hmm.
Because you run right, and they do that. When you get a guy like that, it used to happen to me. They run right at you. They don't try and run away from you. They run right at you.
Yeah.
That's a problem for a guy who's light.
Yeah. I'm curious to see where it goes because I think it's going to afford them some interesting options in given weeks against given opponents, and I think there will be times, maybe as soon as week 3 against Miami, where they say, we can bludgeon these guys with these 3, and then that's on film, and then you can play off of that against a different opponent and throw the ball more with those 3 guys on the field because they can all run and catch.
You go out there and you start
There's
running
a multitude of options.
You go run those 13
tantalizing.
personnel plays, and all of a sudden you run that play that you've been running, it's been good, and all of a sudden it's not the same play it looks like, and the other team jumps in on it, and all of a sudden Jackson Hawes is out the back way catching the touchdown.
I just think Joe Brady's brain is just turning
you got to do
with
that.
Possibilities.
It's creativity is the fun part of coaching. These guys love it.
Our closing figure deals with the concerns about the Bills' defense. As we know, the Bills gave up 40 points to the Ravens in Week 1 and needed a superhuman performance from Josh Allen to still pull out the victory. That 40-point output by the Ravens means the Bills' defense has now allowed 40 points or more and 400 total yards or more in 3 of their last 6 regular season games dating back to last season. It happened in the loss to the Rams, 44-42, and the win over Detroit, 48-42. Prior to Week 14 of the 2024 season, when one of these games happened, Buffalo had only 2 such games in the Sean McDermott era and did not have a game like that since Week 11 of the 2017 season, his first season in Buffalo.
I'll say this. I'm not giving them a pass because you got to play defense. But they're always playing against an offense who are trying to keep up with Josh Allen and the fully formed Josh Allen. These last couple of games, this last half of the season 2 years ago, and then all of last season, they're playing against teams who have changed their philosophy to play this team, and it is we got to keep up. We can't stop them. We got to keep up, and that puts an enormous amount of pressure on your defense. Now, they don't get a pass, but they're playing some teams with their foot on the gas and going all out. And there's some teams out there that are good enough to get it done.
That'll do it for this episode. Be sure to subscribe on whatever podcast platform you use or on our Bills YouTube channel, where you can watch us as well. Because when you need to know about the Bills, you need to check Bills by the Numbers. For Steve Tasker, I'm Chris Brown. Thanks for watching, listening. We'll catch you next time, everybody.